Hey guys, and welcome to a showdown featuring two legendary warriors. We have Killer Runo in charge of the Wood Elf forces, up against Papa Palpatine and his warriors of Chaos. Now, every time you look across the battlefield and you see Palpatine in charge of Chaos, you know you're going to be in for a tough fight. So let's have a little look to see what the Wood Elves are going to be doing to counteract those Chaos monstrosities. And all round, this is a very, I suppose now, classical way of playing Wood Elves. It works very, very well, and it is the defensive box formation. Now, Wood Elves honestly are more known for skirmish play all round, but I think they're one of the best box factions in the entire game. And the reason for that is that they have incredibly fast moving skirmish force who can survive on their own. So we have triple Glade Riders here with Hagbane tips. They're faster than the majority of the Chaos forces all round. They can poison everything as well to allow them to make some really nice quick escapes, and they counter Marauder Horsemen and Horsemasters very, very effectively. If you can take those guys out of action, Chaos can struggle to break down the kind of defensive box formation. Apart from that, we have a couple of Glade Riders to protect them as well, but for the main glorious box, we do have a ton of Eternal Guards with shields. These guys will hold for an absolute eternity up against Marauders and can do even relatively decent up against Chaos Warriors and the like, and that anti-large really helps out up against some of the larger creatures that the Warriors of Chaos can bring to the table. We have the Regiment of Renowned Dryads, the Reefs of the Frozen Heart, who do have Frostbite and a really cool colour scheme to boot. And in the central pocket, we have Zoats. Now, Zoats are a unit I've been slightly critical of all round, and that is mainly because of their low leadership. But if they can stay and fight, they can do some absolutely monstrous damage. Anti-large armor piercing certainly helps out the box builds, and coming with Earthblood and Flesh to Stone gives them good battlefield utility. We do have Ariel, one of the greatest heroes in the game, coming in, of course, with the Berry Wine, which is basically a free regrowth, Soul Stealer, and Apotheosis to try and make those around her stay in the fight a little while longer. We also have Drycha, the crazed, deranged lady herself. Looks like she is going to be coming in completely naked with no spells whatsoever, but she does have Rouse to Wrath, allowing her to summon a couple of units of Dryads over the course of the battle. She also has Fanatical Resolve, so the more damage she takes, the more melee attack and base weapon damage she gives to those around her, and it's a pretty decent size aura as well. So of course, if you try to snipe out the enemy lord, all the troops around her are going to fight even harder to protect their lady. Now, for the forces of the Warriors of Chaos, we have Chaos Marauders dotted all the way along the front line, some of which have great weapons as well. Now, this is a really good option. They are shielded for the most part, of course, not the great weapon variety, but they are shielded, they're cheap, they're cheerful, they're happy to be here, and they're more than happy to be absolutely laced with arrows as long as they win the day. So we have a pretty large cavalry contingent dotted all the way along. A mixture of Chaos Knights and Marauder Horsemen are going all along the battlefield here. Now, Chaos Knights have a really nice matchup here. Again, these guys have 120 armor and a bronze shield, meaning they don't take too much damage from bow fire all round. And leading this mighty force, we have Archaon the Ever-Chosen strutting ahead of the Marauders here with Flaming Sword of Ruin and Burning Head. Not bringing his biggest toolkit, but those spells all round do tend to be relatively powerful in this matchup. So a very simple build from the forces of Chaos. We're going to rush you, punch you in the face, and see how that goes. The Glade Riders are being forced back at the moment, but they are getting some pretty decent fire onto the Chaos Knights, which are one of the targets they should be focusing down. Glade Riders with Hagbane tips do actually have relatively decent AP stats. Their main precious prize, though, is going to be these Marauder Horsemen. If you can force them off, that will keep a lot of these Zoats and other bigger units a lot safer. It's an old school tactic, been happening for quite a while now. I used to do the same thing, but with Durfu, but now you can kind of replace Durfu with Ariel, and she's a little bit better. So Glade Riders still going to be doing a little bit of skirmish. Chaos Knights are going to be used to force back the enemy where possible and desperately try to chase them down. And Archaon has gone for the ultimate Leroy Jenkins King Theoden maneuver, charging headlong into these Glade Riders, somehow managing to catch them as well. Looks like they're not on skirmish mode at all. And this is really worrying times. If a Burning Head came down the line right now, this would devastate this formation. Perhaps he is saving them to help deal with some of the Eternal Guard in the late game. Chaos Knights are going to be darting in, trying to pin in this formation, but it looks like the Wood Elves did notice, and they are going to be able to fall back for the most part, only losing a few horsemen. And then the main battle line, Eternal Guard are training very effectively so far up against the Chaos Marauders. Probably was some cycle charging by the Zoats or something in the front line to do some of that nice damage. And Ariel is just going to hang out by Drycha, and this is going to be a very powerful combination. Easily terrifying off the Chaos Marauders and driving them back, although it looks like we are now seeing some throwing axes and javelins coming in and going after the Lady of the Woods herself. Big fat Burning Head coming down, glorious cast by Archaon. It is going to pretty much finish off the Wraiths of the Frozen Heart, who have only managed to get 8 kills, and do massive damage to a group of Eternal Guard, but a lot of their damage has already been done. We have a unit of Chosen in this central pocket as well, who we missed early on. These guys, 120 armor and silver shields, make them pretty good up against the Wood Elf bowfire, and they will tear apart any of the Wood Elf infantry with deadly efficiency and pretty good ease. Chaos Knights are having to fall back here after some lovely circle charging into Eternal Guard, allowing the Chaos Marauders now just to mop them up for the most part. But in the centre of the fight, Eternal Guard may be struggling slightly, but the heroes and the Zotes certainly aren't. These monstrous creatures, especially with Flesh to Stone popped on them, are taking relatively little damage, hunting down Chaos Knights every time these guys swarm in, although good micro all round by the Chaos player, pulling them back and forth, but fantastic catch. A summon of the Dryads coming from Drycha herself is going to pin in this unit of Chaos Knights, allowing the Zotes to clamp in on the back, and there is nowhere to run, no safety whatsoever. Yes, the Dryads won't do the most damage here, but those Zotes will butcher the Knights, crumpling that armor with heaving strikes of their clubs. And yeah, Chaos Knights instantly break, not surprising in the least. Ariel just vibing at the moment, floating along, destroying Chaos Marauders. They're not really going to be able to touch her and do much damage whatsoever. She can quite happily float around here and just slowly whistle these guys down. Although a big Flaming Sword Rune does come in with a stand or die, going to be allowing these lower tier Chaos Infantry to fight far better. Archaon as well has just buffed all his own stats to try and break through Ariel where possible. And he's doing some okay damage, but she's incredibly tanky. Looks like in the distance we do have one unit of Glade Riders who need to come back to the fray. Perhaps could easily cycle charge and break these Chaos Marauders who are desperately trying to chase off some Eternal Guard. And that's something you need to do when you're up against tightly packed formations, is you need to ensure you do chase off those troops when they break. Horsemen as well are kind of just laughing at these Glade Riders, throwing javelins in. Looks like they are going to take a little bit of a charge, but the Glade Riders are so low in number, yeah, the Marauder Horsemen are going to eat them up for breakfast. Some more Chaos Marauders are going to be slowly floating over towards the main engagement. We do have a big burning head going down, but it's only really going to clear through the unit of Dryads, which are going to go anyway there, so unfortunately a little bit of waste on that one, and maybe even some friendly fire. Drycha is now in a pretty scary situation, completely surrounded by Marauders. She's not the most tanky. Lord and Archaon comes in as well with that glorious flaming sword to do some pretty good damage to her. He's a very good assassin. Unfortunately for him though, even though he has a flaming sword, much like Tyrion, he doesn't do flaming attacks for some bizarre reason. Zotes are also going relatively strong, down to about half health, but still 11 models. They can get some lovely healing to keep them up and fighting at full capacity. They're doing a pretty good job here though, just whittling down the Chaos Knights, dragging them from their horses, and they're a lovely counter to Chaos Knights, who are pretty popular in this matchup due to the fact they're so good at chasing down enemy skirmishers. But once again, we see the tactic pulled off by the Wood Elves here, as Dryads do get summoned in the back line, pinning in 2 units of Chaos Knights, allowing the Zotes to do horrific damage. And it looks like we're going to have a Soul Sealer on top of that as well, catching all the important units, including the mighty Archaon. Now there are some Glade Riders here to support and fire in, helping poison these troops and whittle them down even further, and it looks like the mobility of the Chaos faction has been dealt with. Archaon though is coming after that tree booty, hunting her down. Stand or die has been popped to give him a little bit more tankiness. He's doing some pretty big damage, but it looks like Drycha has received some healing. Another Apotheosis going down just as I say so, and now the Zotes are here to support. And it's looking a little bleak for the forces of Chaos. If we look around the battlefield, they do have some Chaos Marauders coming back to the fray, although Glade Riders are doing a good job hunting down units left, right and centre. More Chaos Warriors returning here. Do we still have the Chosen? So it looks like we do have a very healthy unit of Chosen, which could be pivotal in this showdown. There's still 51 of these elite bad boys, up to over 50 kills. Not too bad on the damage value front either. And once these Dryads do disappear, balance power should be coming relatively closer to the middle. But Archaon is being now surrounded and dealt with. The Zotes having an absolute whale of a time, taking turns clubbing the so-called ever chosen and chosen of Chaos. Ariel can do pretty decent damage, floating in here, poking him in the rear. Is Drycha still standing? She isn't, pretty much back up to full health. I expect some berry wine was also used, not just at the Apotheosis. And with Archaon going down like this, there really is no hope left for the forces of Chaos. Yes, the Chosen can fight gloriously to the death here, but surrounded by so many powerful creatures and single entities, what can heavy infantry do in such an age? And they are getting battered down to the ground. They should be able to trade back some damage up against the large scaly creatures. Chosen in general hit very hard. course not as hard as the Great Weapon variety, but it looks like even the Mighty Chosen have decided to leg it and run for the hill. So a Pyrrhic victory indeed. Both factions getting incredibly beat up there towards the end, but massive shout out to Killaruno and Papa Palpatine. Fantastic game by two guys we've seen a few times on the channel. Always entertaining watch when they are in action. So hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, feel free to give the video a big old thumbs up and subscribe for more Total War Warhammer content. If you want to see your own replays up on the channel, feel free to join my Discord. There is a link down below, as well as links to how you can support the channel, either via over on my Patreon or by becoming a member of the channel, all that kind of good stuff. But anyway, let's pop in here and have a little look at the build. So, for Papa Palpatine, big fan of Archaon. He did very well with him. Some big, fat, burning heads coming in there. Turned up to be really quite clutch. 3,000 damage value is impressive indeed. The Marauders as well are a nice little cheap unit to throw in here. As I said early on during the battle, they're shielded. They take a lot of the bow fire. Also mix in the Great Weapon variety, just to sort of hack down and be a, turn to lumberjacks basically, to really take down some of the Treekin, Treemen, and Durfu and other units like that the Wood Elves can bring to the table. It's always nice as well seeing a unit of Chosen in the mist, just to have a little bit more of an elite infantry which can really chew its way through. And to be honest, by the end it was pretty much still full health, or at least close to, as you can see on the bar here, so still plenty of damage output it could have given, but unfortunately the battle was already lost by that point. Good cycle charging as well by the Chaos Knights, but because of Killaruno's fantastic trap he set with Drycha, they were eventually dealt with, and when the battlefield is given to the Wood Elves and they've kind of gained map control, the Wood Elves are one of the best at exploiting that and hurting the enemy. They're very fast all round, although they did come in with a pretty stalwart line of spearmen who did okay. Again, burning heads really did cripple them quite badly, but they were there to help pin in the enemy and allow the hard hitting Zotes and characters to really do the damage, and the Zotes certainly did. 2,400 damage value is fantastic work, also because they were the reason that at least two of the units, I think three actually, units of Knights were dealt with. And if the Knights were allowed to consistently cycle charge, they probably would have been able to finish off the rest of the ground forces. Then the Zotes would have been isolated and most likely lost leadership and hope. Apart from that, RL, not the most damage value on her this time. She is incredibly expensive, but very, very powerful and tanky, and good use of her healing to help keep the characters in the game, because Drycha got incredibly low. But one thing I really like about Drycha, I haven't showcased her too much on the channel because I'm a massive fan of Orion and the changes to him and the Sisters of Twilight, but I think Drycha is going to be very competitive. She's incredibly cheap, a decent law of magic as well to boot, and that Dryad summon we saw here wasn't used to get into a back line or to try and shred its way through Marauders. Instead was used as a roadblock to pin in troops and allow the Zotes to carry the day. Anyway guys, until next time, peace, and as always, stay awesome.